I am a soft, sassy, or feminine man.
I am so freaking sick of this whole sassy man apocalypse bullshit.
Darnell, they don't want nothing to do with us. I came home for Thanksgiving wearing pink socks. This nigga spit stuffing out. Why all y'all gay?
This is so interesting to me. I haven't really done any real like research or anything like that on like the whole sassy man thing. And I've called men sassy many a times because niggas be acting sassy. Now I don't have any problem with the word sassy. I couldn't care less about it. I don't care if somebody calls me sassy. I don't care if I call somebody sassy. I don't think it's homophobic. I don't, none of that stuff, right? I think it can be, but yeah, I don't. To me, it's not homophobic because when I call somebody sassy or when I call a man sassy, I'm not saying that he's acting like a woman, and that is what would make it homophobic, right? I'm not saying whenever I say a man is being sassy, I'm not talking about him acting like a woman at all. That's not what I'm talking about, not even a little bit, because women can be sassy, obviously, right? But men can be sassy, and it has nothing to do with gender or sex or anything like that. It's just how you act. So I don't have a problem with people, once again, calling somebody sassy. It's you know what I mean? Like the word existed before, I won't say before, but it's not a slur of any type. It's a word. It exists in the fucking English lexicon, and you are free to use it if you want to. But I do find the conversation surrounding it very interesting and compelling. And when people use it, how people use it and when people use it, I also find to be very interesting. And that's what I wanted to get into today. So let's see if we can get to the bottom of this. So this would be an example of, we're going to get some different perspectives of how people use sassy or what women think of the word sassy and what men think of the word sassy. But this would be one of the examples that I like, the way that I feel like the word sassy is being misused, first and foremost.
Things that I have seen, like with my friends and stuff, they've dealt with where it's just like, oh, what could you do for me? I feel like that.
And that's sassy?
Yeah, that's not sassy. I think so, because he'll be like, oh, why should I buy you something? What are you buying me? Like
that's fair.
No.
So because it is fair.
I don't think that it's the action of him expecting something back or anything like that. I don't think that's the part that's sassy. It's how he's saying it. The way that she's saying it, that would be the thing that I would be like, oh, that's sassy. How he said that. Because I think there's a way to communicate that in a non-sassy way. It's, to me, sassiness is rooted in how you express yourself, not the things that you say in and of itself. It's how you express yourself, right? It's how it's how your voice sounds, how the tone is. That's what, when I call people sassy or a man sassy or a woman sassy, it's in the tone. Like, don't sass me, don't da-da-da-da, you know what I'm saying? Or like back talking, you know what I'm saying? Like that type of stuff, being slick, right? Being sly, trying to, trying to throw little jabs and shit like that, or whatever the case may be. These are things that I associate with sassiness, not just you like talking up, like in this case, where she's saying like, oh, he's expecting something back. Because essentially what you're saying is that men shouldn't expect things back from women, or they're quote unquote acting like women. You see what I'm saying? And I think that is where it becomes problematic really fast.
No, I don't know. Go be with a man then if you feel like you're doing so much.
So I gotta be with a man.
Yeah, I feel
because
like that.
because I want more for my woman.
Why are you comparing what you could do for her?
Is he doing more?
Yeah, but don't most.
Why is that a problem?
No. That's what?
I don't know.
Yo,
we shouldn't have to settle for less, and I think a lot of women are being.
Then don't be with me.
Oh, and that's why we about to cut you the off because you do this.
I don't care about this discussion. I don't think that a man saying whatever, you know what I'm saying that he expects more out of his woman. I think that's fair and fine depending on the circumstances, right? Also, I think that in most cases, when men start to do this, like, what can you do for me shit, it's weird because women don't do that either, though. Like, I've never been with a woman and she like tells me she expects me to buy her a bunch of shit, or she expects, you know what I'm saying, anything out. Like, usually what women are telling me they expect from me my wife in particular, the thing that she tells me is like she wants me to communicate better. She expects me to show up. It's never rooted in like any material bullshit or like, oh, so shit, if you ain't gonna give me flowers in, oh, you're not gonna take me on a date then. Like, it's never that. It's always like, what do you like, you know, like I need for you to show up. I need for you to communicate with me better or whatever the case may be. I don't have a problem with men voicing that to a woman, but once again, it would be the tone. It would be the delivery that could come off as sassy. That's what I'm saying.
Young man, get it. Listen to the whole thing, boy. He is one smart dude.
I don't know if you know this, but there's a civil war going on between old black dudes and young black dudes. Old niggas hate us. Any older cousin, uncle, nigga named Darnell, they don't want nothing to do with us. I came home for Thanksgiving wearing pink socks. This nigga spit stuffing out. Why all y'all gay? Like, you just met my girlfriend.
Right, that's how we is now. Y'all pay attention. We gonna talk about this.
And it pisses me off that old niggas do that. Be like, why y'all act like that? Why y'all weird? Why y'all act like that? Why y'all weird? The government. The same way you acted weird when you were young. Because of the government. The FBI wanted to destroy black equity in our communities, so they wanted us to be detached from our families, so they made economic obstacles. The prison system flooded us with drugs, so subsequently it would lead to a generation of black men raised by their grandmas and their moms, just like me, creating a generation of sassy ass niggas.
Yes, sir. Well, that's a cold piece of work, man. That design.
That's not, first of all, that's not what happened. I just, real quick, I'm gonna let this dude finish, but that's not what happened. That's not what it was. I'm not saying that the government didn't do a lot of that stuff, but that's not what it was. That was weird. That was just a weird take. But this dude's take is even worse.
Bro, that's crazy that young man understand that. That young man right there understand the design. If we can get more women to understand design, we can stop the design in the damn cycle. I made a post with my man,
So he took from what that comedian was saying. Both of them was wrong unequivocally. Neither one of them know what the fuck they talking about. But the comedian, a part of what he was saying was the government ruined the community. Right? He's saying the government ruined the community, right? This dude is saying women played a role. How did women play the role? How did women play a role when all they did was just raise the kids that was left behind by the men that chose to fall for the tricks of the government? The government played tricks on them. The men fell for the tricks. And then they ended up going to jail and they ended up strung out on drugs. And then the women were stuck holding the bag, raising the kids. Why do the women need to get on the same page? That doesn't make any sense. They're two different things. The comedian isn't saying that the government made men sassy. The comedian is saying that they were trying to destroy the black community. And in doing that, what do you want to say? Like, it's like a thing that happened because of it, a consequence because of that was an unintended consequence, by the way, was a bunch of men being raised by their mothers and growing up to be sassy. Like, that's the government didn't say, we got to make these niggas sassy. How the fuck does that stop anything? Like, how did that doesn't make black men weaker because we wear pink socks? Like, that shit is stupid. That's not what it was. The first part, yes, the drugs, the crime, the long prison sentences, yes, that's what it was. And it wasn't even necessarily to break up the black family per se. It was more about labor. It was about stealing labor from black people. I mean, it was all of it, don't get me wrong. But the number one thing that capitalists want to do is they want to exploit labor. So they locked up a bunch of niggas to go do their labor. Because we always been doing the labor in this country. That was the number one reason for all of this shit. When you lock a nigga up, per the 13th Amendment, people have to do whatever you say do. The government says do. So there you go. But the women have nothing to do with any of this shit. Like, I'm talking about with the downfall whatsoever. But these men, that's what I'm saying. That's why you got to be careful when you talk about this shit, because idiots like this dude is going to hear it and try to connect some stupid fictitious dot that doesn't exist.
You post back, people who follow me know how the women are marrying the government. women are being with men they don't even listen to, dog. She'd rather pick the government over you. Why is
That's not what the comedian said. The comedian said that the black men were taken out of the homes by the government via drugs and selling of drugs, doing drugs and selling drugs. And then getting fucking 90 years for possessing coke and shit like that, right? That's what happened to black men. Black women, he didn't, this dude is a fucking dumbass. That is not what the comedian was talking about whatsoever. The comedian never mentioned black women being on welfare or anything like that.
that? Is it a design? Is it a design that the society should raise our children to make them do what the hell they want to? People don't have the third eye to see it, especially women who run off emotions and they just trying to survive. But they don't understand that the government ain't their friend. They don't understand that the government want to keep you paying $4 in rent. You get crutched to that, used to that. Paying $8 in rent, keep the man out the household. Just keep coming over here to me. Keep coming over here to me. But while he keep coming over here to you, this whole environment is raising that boy to be a prison number, bro.
If that's the case, I just want black men to understand what you are saying. If black men are so terrible that they cannot overcome, that they cannot present a better situation for black women than the ones that black women currently live in this situation, which is poverty. If black men cannot present a better situation than poverty for black women, then that says everything about black men and nothing about black women. It says nothing about black women whatsoever. It says everything about us, right? But I know that this isn't true either, because there was a nigga in my house when I was growing up and we was on Section 8. I was a nigga. My brother was a nigga. It was black men. It was my mama and 3 black men in her home, fully grown black men at one point in time. I don't know what this dude talking about. Black women was definitely letting black men in the home, and black men never have to leave the home. They can still live there, sir. They can still live there. My mom, when my mom married my father when I was 3 or 4 or something like that, and we were on Section 8. We had an apartment. They both were on the lease. Nobody had to go. Nobody has to go. Black men could just marry. I mean, worst case scenario, which they don't even have to do this, but black men, if they really wanted to, you can just marry a black woman. But if you marry her, here's what happens. Now they're taking into account both of your incomes, right? Okay, now you don't qualify for Section 8 because more than likely you are making enough money to afford rent somewhere, full rent somewhere else. You have 2 incomes now, or you just make more money. That's what's happening. So if black women are in the projects and they are qualifying for Section 8, it's because black men aren't there. It's not because they're pushing black men out. It's because black men aren't there. That's the problem. That's what it is. And we know how Section 8 works too, because also black men may make enough money to pay full rent, but you would still be struggling, right? You would still be struggling. So a lot of people will move a man in the home, not get married on paper, and not put the man on the lease. Now she's still paying $4 a month, $12, $150 a month rent for her 3-bedroom, but he's bringing in another income, right? And then what happens when the maintenance people come over to inspect and all of that shit? What do? You just hide the clothes, put them under the bed. I bet we've been there, man. I'm a project baby. I know. I've seen it happen. Black women been having black men in the home this whole time. It's been a black man in the home. A bunch of black women got black men in the home. It's just that they try that it still doesn't. The black men can't afford to move out either. Let me just put it like that. That's what it is. The black men can't afford to move out. That's it. You could pay full rent, but listen, you could pay full rent, but you just gonna be living in the same fucking shitty neighborhood, paying more rent. So they like, why would I do that?
Y'all think it's just us blaming women. I'm not blaming.
If black women is kicking black men out the home so much, where are black men staying? Because they don't got leases. Most black men ain't got a lease in the hood like that. They name ain't on a lease. If black women is kicking all these black men out the hood, why the fuck is a hood saturated with black men? Where they living?
Y'all, bro. You are a product of the cycle. Once you already in it, you don't even know you're in it. Women are raising men they don't even want. And women are saying, I'd rather be independent. Women are making way more money than men. Who they?
He just yapping. But I just wanted to show y'all, I just wanted to touch on that part where he was saying right there, just to correct him. But this is about the sassy man shit, right? And my dude at the beginning, the comedian, said that men being raised by women creates a bunch of sassy men, which is not true. That's not what's quote unquote driving the sassy man apocalypse. Men have always been sassy as far as this is concerned. I mean, like, men have always been sassy. Like, I haven't seen much new shit. It's just, yeah, men have always been sassy based on the way that I think most people use the word. Let me put it like that. So, like I was saying, I don't think sassy has anything to do with being like a woman or whatever the case may be, you know, or it's not, it doesn't have to be negative or anything like that, right? Well, no, I'm sorry. I think it's based on your actions, not based on how you present. Like, I wear nails. I don't think I'm a sassy nigga though. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wear fingernail paint, but I'm not a sassy nigga. If you saying because a man wears fingernail paint, then he's a sassy man, and you don't know what sassy means, how the fuck is that sassy? Now you are using it as a way to be homophobic, right? If you're saying that a man with a dangly earring is a sassy man, how is he a sassy man? Sass has everything to do with how you act, not how you present, right?
I am a soft, sassy, or feminine man, and one thing I realized a while ago is that my masculinity has...
He's a feminine man. That's what he should say. I'm a feminine man. There's a bunch of feminine women that aren't sassy. Women aren't sassy by default. That's what I'm saying. There are plenty of women aren't sassy at all. Plenty of women aren't sassy. Some women are. That's not a woman trait to be sassy.
Nothing to do with my sexuality. And I think that's one of the biggest contributors to this idea of toxic masculinity, is defining people's sexuality.
Let me go back.
Masculinity has nothing to do with my sexuality. And I think a soft, sassy, or feminine man, and one thing I realized a while ago is that my masculinity has nothing to do with my sexuality. And I think that's one of the biggest contributors to this idea of toxic masculinity, is defining people's sexuality for them based off the way they express themselves, or the way that we assign gender to expression.
Like, for instance, I will carry this bag around. Some people may call it a purse, but it is just a very convenient way for me not to carry things around in my pocket anymore.
Because what does carrying a purse around, getting my toes done, or taking care of myself have to do with my sexuality? Nothing. And I've never been more secure in my masculinity or sexuality, but I had to stop living up to society's definition of either.
He cracked the code. I love everything he said besides calling himself sassy, but that's why I showed this video for two reasons. A, because he's 100% right that that my sexuality has nothing to do with how I present at all. And I'm tired of people like conflating the two. Like I said, I have fingernail paints. I used to wear super skinny jeans. I'm not gay. Everybody's on the spectrum, right? Right? Or whatever that is. But like, I'm not gay though. I don't identify as a gay man at all. But if I did, I would just be gay. It's okay. Like, I have no problem with it. I'm just not gay though. But I like fingernail paint. I like Merces. I like man bags. I like tight clothes sometimes. I like wearing short shorts. I like showing skin. I like whatever you want to say. I like that shit. Like, what the fuck? That's weird. Like that, and when society, men and women, when they start to judge you like that, then they don't know that, well, especially when women do it, you're just playing into, misogynistic, patriarchal conformities, right? Like, there's no reason for a man not to be able to wear fingernail paint or get his toenails done or wear a fucking Yves Saint Laurent bag or whatever the case may be. There's no reason for that, right? It seems like we should be able to do what we want to do, but every time that people shame a man for that, you're just making things worse. You're pouring fuel on the fire. So there's no need to do that if you're a woman or a man, right? But I know men, it's different because men are trying to use it as a way to shame men who make them feel uncomfortable in their sexuality. They haven't separated the two. They walk around performing masculinity all day long. And then when they see a man like me or they see a man like this dude, they're confused. Like, I thought only gay men did that. I thought only women did that. I thought only trans people did that. You know what I mean? It's like, no, they start getting confused. Now these binary rigid thoughts that they have of gender doesn't work. A man like me blows that up. This man blows that up. We fuck up that image of gender for them. We literally blow it out of the water, right?
I am so freaking sick of this whole sassy man apocalypse bullshit. Girls, were we not just the ones who collectively got together and we agreed, we're like, man, I cannot stand it when they're so fucking nonchalant. I can't stand it when they're not expressing themselves. It's like, oh, sex, oh, sports, oh, video games. And then you're like, okay, but like, how does anything in life make you feel? And they're just like, I don't know, man, I'm just trying to vibe. I thought we all agreed that we hated that shit. That we hated it. We were all like, we'd like to have a world where men have more like layers, where they could feel comfortable enough to talk about shit like sadness and longing and jealousy and just pain and in general.
None of this is sassy. That's what I'm saying. See how we're using it wrong? None of that is sassy. I don't think that's what women are talking about when they're talking about a sassy man apocalypse either. They're talking about men being flippant. They're talking about men, like I said, being petty. It's how they present, like whatever, like being dismissive in that way, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it ain't like the motions, but also like what you say when you do that. When you do that neck roll, what normally comes out of your mouth is some sassy shit. That's what they're talking about. That smart ass mouth and shit. Like, just think about your parents. Don't sass me. That's what sassiness is. When your parents said don't sass me, they wasn't calling you a girl or a boy. Just fucking don't sass me. Don't be talking back. Why are you being disrespectful? Why are you being flippant? That's what they're talking about.
All saying that. We had all agreed on that. So tell me why. Recently, this whole new trend is going on. And if a guy comes up to you and then he's just like, I'm actually feeling really, really bad about that. That thing that happened the other day, like that made me feel really, under.
That's not what it is. It's the women are to me, how I'm interpreting it is the women that are actually accurately talking about the sassy men, not the women who are using it as a way to be homophobic and like shame men or whatever. The reason why, or what I'm getting from it, the men that they're talking about specifically are the men who like have these expectations of women and how they voice it, like I'm the prize men, right? The Mr. Simone Biles type of men. It's what he said and how he said it that was sassy. I'm the prize. Everybody know, like that type of shit. That's sassy. That's not a woman. That's not a woman or a male. Like, people can be arrogant. Anybody can be arrogant. Anybody can be sassy, right? That's what I think, what I'm getting from the women. Like, it's not gendered. They're just saying like, well, I guess in this case, because it's coming from a man, but they're saying like, as me, look, women do more than men. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out a way to say this without ruffling feathers for me, because I know men get so mad when I say stuff like this, but I don't care. Women do more than men. They bring more to the proverbial table than men do, right? So having a man, I'm saying like I'm a woman, like in this case, having a man be on some like, what have you done for me lately? Or what can you do for me when you can't do shit for yourself and I do more than you is weird. Like that's strike number one. But then you got the audacity to, you know what I'm saying, be smart mouth with me when you like present that shit to me. Like what you gonna do for me? And da 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 da. I'm like, I ain't with that shit. Or, like, say, man, if you want to get with me, you gonna have to buy me some da 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 da. I gotta go to the steakhouse at least once a week. That's sassy. That's the sassy shit. The soft guy era, when men have always been in the soft man era. That's why we created this fucked up system. That's why the patriarchy exists, to put men in a soft man era. So we would have to do as little as work. So we have to do as little work as possible to maintain a relationship with the woman, right? So we're going to have access to an abundance of women simply because we have a fucking job and a car and an apartment or a house or whatever the case may be. And that's it. That's an easy life. You don't have to work on yourself. You don't have to be a better person. All you got to do is go slave away in some capitalist factory or business, make them a boatload of money. You get your little 8% or whatever, you know what I mean? Like however, if you making $50,000 a year, you done made them $200,000 a year. That's fine. So you get your little cut, right? And then you go home and you get to abuse your woman the same way that the capitalists abuse you. That's a soft guy life. We've been living that life for 1,000 years. Women can't move around without men. You want to take it back to like feudal days, man. Women couldn't move freely without men. Like if they were trying to get into a town and a man wasn't accompanying them, like in a new town, they'll be like, nah, go back and get you a man before you enter this town. Women couldn't move around without men. They couldn't be on roads without men alone. I mean, legally, but also just fear being attacked. And it's still like that today, minus the legal part, but they still moving around without men could get you harmed by random men. You know what I'm saying? That's what we got to get to, man. There's so much nuance to this that people are missing.
Appreciated, and I feel like I'm putting a lot of effort into this relationship, and I feel like you're not doing as much or whatever. And instead of being like, oh my god, I am so sorry, I didn't realize, we're all like, oh my god, you're being so sassy right now. We will never be free. We will never be free. We will forever be locked in these chains. You guys do realize that in the ideal world where there's a lack of toxic masculinity, there are going to be a lot of men being pretty sassy all the damn time, right? Because there would be no social stigma against a man just being like, I'm sad.
I think toxic masculinity makes men sassy. That's just so we're clear. I think it's the masculinity that actually makes us sassy. It's not, once again, she's talking about men being expressive, and I don't equate that to sassiness. I don't, and I could be wrong. Maybe a lot of women do, or most men, or whatever. Maybe that's what it is. But I've seen that a lot. But whenever people do that, I'm like, that's not what sassy was supposed to be for, though. And I know she's right as far as there are people and women who would use the word sassy to describe those men, but I'm saying you guys are all wrong for doing that, because that wouldn't be what sassy is. A man expressing himself justifiably is not him being sassy, right? You're just trying to use it as a way to shame men, to shut them down, to not take accountability. I'm sure that happens. I'm sure that that's happening in those instances if and when women use it, at that time. When men call other men sassy, they're trying to shut the man down often. They're not really trying to let him just use it as a, saying like if you were saying you're upset, calm down or something like that. You're really trying to shame him. Oh, look at you being sassy like a woman. But you don't have to say like a woman, but it's implied. It's implied when you use it in certain instances and contexts.
I want to fucking cry. Yeah, that shit hurt my feelings. That would be normal. That would be normal in the ideal world. Did not know I would ever see the day where I would come on this app and defend men. You have me on here defending men. How are we ever going to have a world full of Allens if every time an Allen does as an Allen does and just expresses themselves, we're just like, ew. That kind of gave me the ick. Ugh. At first, I thought sassy was this new, still little internet way of being he's being weird or he's being annoying or whatever. But I was like, oh, no. Sassy's supposed to mean he's being overly expressive of his emotions.
It depends on the emotion. That's what I'm saying. It's not those emotions. It is overly expressive of an emotion, but usually the emotion is embarrassment or, because it's how they're reacting to something, right? Or entitlement. I'm sorry. Overly being expressive of their entitlement, right? Or being overly entitled, I should say. Things like that makes you come off as sassy. How? Because it changes your tone. If you feel like you're entitled to something, you start to act like a Kevin or a Karen, right? That's what I'm saying. I get that's the thing. That's the thing we need to separate from, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't think it's a problem to call men sassy as long as you're not being homophobic. But as soon as you're being homophobic, that's when I have a problem with it. That's what I'm saying. If you're using it as a way to shame men by comparing them to women, by saying oh, you're acting like a woman without saying you're acting like a woman, that's a problem. That's problematic. And to her point, we are working so hard to get away from that, but yet people that are trying, that say that they're actively trying to get away from that are the ones that are turning around and using it. Then yes, that will be a problem. I totally agree. I totally agree. If you guys are using sassy interchangeably for that's gay, quote unquote, right? Wrong. Don't do it. Same way we shouldn't say that's gay is the same way we shouldn't say he's being sassy as a way to shame a man when they are overly being expressive, not overly expressive, just being expressive in any way, right? That's what she's talking about to me. I don't think these men are being overly expressive if they're just being expressive. If the man is just telling you that he's sad and he's down, that's not him being overly expressive. But if he's being petty, if you annoyed him, which can happen to anybody, you annoy the person, and then instead of them just telling you like, oh, I didn't find that to be funny, or I didn't really like that behavior out of you, or whatever, they start to be flippant and they start to be short and they start to neck roll and do all of that shit. Now they are being sassy. That is the difference. That's all it is, man. Are we clear? Stop using that shit as a way. Stop using that shit as a homophobic slur, though, because it's not that.